The Emperor's New Clothes. Once upon a time, in a distant land, there lived a king who was so fond of pomp and grandeur that he squandered everything he could on extravagant attire. He changed clothes every hour, making the capital city bustling with visitors who marveled at his extravagant wardrobe. One day, two swindlers came to the city, claiming to be weavers, capable of creating the finest fabric in the world. They said that the fabric they wove possessed extraordinary qualities. It could only be seen by those who were fit for their positions or were intelligent. The king thought, "These clothes are priceless. With them, I can identify the worthless officials in my government and distinguish the competent from the incompetent. Yes, this fabric is tailor-made for me." So he immediately paid the swindlers in advance to start their work. The fraudulent weavers set up 2 looms and pretended to work tirelessly, though there was nothing on the looms. They pretended to weave the finest silk with intricate patterns, but in reality, they were just working with empty looms until late at night. The king decided to see for himself what they were up to. Meanwhile, there were concerns among the people that only fools or incompetent individuals would be unable to see the fabric. Though the king himself had no doubts, human nature being what it is, he thought it more appropriate to send someone else to inspect the work. He chose his old, wise prime minister for the task, believing he would understand the fabric best. The honest old prime minister entered the room where the 2 swindlers were supposedly working diligently, but he couldn't see anything on the looms. He pondered, "Good Lord, am I a fool? How can I explain that I can't see the fabric?" One of the weavers asked, "How do you find it?" The prime minister, squinting and focusing harder, replied, "Well, it could hardly be more beautiful. The pattern, the colors, yes, I quite like it. Let me go and inform the king of my approval." "We're pleased to hear that," said the weavers, pretending to show him various non-existent patterns and colors. They were loading their pockets with the money, silk, and gold, of course. After some time, the king sent another minister to examine the fabric and confirm if it was finished. Later, he went to the king and couldn't stop extolling the fabric, saying, "It's exquisite, dazzling." The fabric became the talk of the town. Finally, it was time for the king to see the fabric himself. Accompanied by a group that included 2 honest ministers, he went to the swindlers. The ministers exclaimed, "Extraordinary, isn't it? The pattern and colors are worthy of your majesty." They even pointed at the empty looms as if they could see something. The king felt distressed. "What is this?" he thought. "I can't see anything. Dreadful. Do I need to be the biggest fool to rule the kingdom?" Then, pulling himself together, he exclaimed, "Dazzling. I must express my utmost satisfaction." Nodding in approval, he stared at the looms without saying a word of truth. His entourage approached one by one, exclaiming, "Dazzling." They even advised him to wear the new clothes for the upcoming grand event. The swindlers were honored, given medals, and appointed as the heads of weaving guilds. On the night before the ceremony, the swindlers worked tirelessly under the light of 16 candles, pretending to cut the fabric with giant scissors, sewing with invisible threads, and finally declaring the clothes ready. The king, accompanied by his attendants, inspected the clothes. The swindlers pretended to dress him, praising the lightness and perfection of the fabric. The king stood before the mirror, marveling at his dazzling attire. As he paraded through the streets under a magnificent umbrella, The crowds exclaimed, "What splendid clothes! How graceful is the king's attire!" No one dared to admit they saw nothing, fearing they would be deemed foolish or incompetent. But a child spoke up, "But the king is naked." His father, realizing the truth in his innocent words, urged, "God bless my honest child's voice." The word spread among the people until everyone cried out, "The king is naked." The king's pride was deeply wounded. However, after some thought, he decided, "No matter what, I must endure this to the end." He held his head high, and his attendants continued to carry the non-existent train with utmost respect,